Anubha, and I have Rahul with me. We are from Fractal. Fractal, as many of you would have heard, is a company working in the AI/ML space for the past 25 years. We cater to Fortune 500 companies dealing with data analytics and helping them in their digital and business transformation. Today we'll be talking about, sorry, I was not on the mic. So today we'll be talking about, actually we just have 20 minutes, so we'll just try to squeeze in two disruptive transformations that we've done in talent supply chain, which is in the staffing area. So one would be the allocation principles, and the second is skill management journey. I'll be picking up allocation principles, and Rahul will talk about the skill management. Okay, so in any company, and especially for the staffing team, allocations is going to be a very important part of the work that we do, right? So because it is the single source of truth in terms of what is the talent spread in terms of availability and visibility and so on and so forth. So when it comes to allocation management, every company has that, but what we realized at the very beginning is that we need to put some guidelines across it so that, we are able to drive a lot of outcomes through it. One definitely is, it is based, when we talk about allocations, we are deriving the revenue, the utilization, the people availability, and like you said, a lot of reporting and analytics. It all comes from the single source of truth, which is the allocations of the people in the company, right? So the challenges that we came across with was basically, while the company was growing, we had the headcount growth, we didn't see the revenue uptick as well. So what was missing was basically somewhere the allocations were missing, and hence it was not leading to the revenue uptick that we would expect to see. The other part was that a lot of people were showing unallocated, supposedly on bench, and to be deployable, but actually they were not deployable. They were, held up by projects in anticipation of future demand. They were being trained. They were being sort of selected and still waiting for onboarding. In absence of allocation, all of them were showing up on bench, showing the lesser utilization, but actually those people were not deployable or available for projects. So the outcome of that was that the practice or the business units still had their own high utilization because they didn't own the cost of the people on bench, while the individuals as well as the company as a whole, the utilization continued to be low, right? So basis that, then we revisited the entire allocation management, and we came to the vision that definitely we'll have to make certain guidelines and sort of principles which should be aligned obviously to the company, to the delivery teams, and to the staffing team, right? So fundamentally, I think this is something that we all will be aligned to is, right, people are assigned to the right projects at the right time, at the right cost. So that was definitely the fundamental principle around that. And what we wanted to do is just not look at it as an operational sort of challenge and then cater to that, but look at it as a long-term vision and the strategic part of it. Now that we realize that when we're talking about staffing agent and introducing GenAI into the entire operations, I think allocation management and these principles have played a very important part of it. Obviously, the downstream of that would be drive revenue, reduce leakage, and obviously the improve the employee experience. The other thing that was missing was accountability by practice, so that also gets catered to with these principles. And fundamentally, when we're talking about utilization is also something which is the key metric for the staffing team as well as for the company to see how we're performing. So I think that was one of the key metrics that we wanted to sort of fix basis the allocation principles here. So the journey was definitely, coming back to the drawing board, design thinking approach, wherein we had all the teams come together, business, staffing, finance, operations, all put their brains together to be able to find a solution to how we should operate and change the way of things that we do, right? The way we launched the allocation principles way back in 2021, so there were some certain areas that had to be sort of, mandatory put there. And then obviously, based on the feedback, the data from different stakeholders, over the years, we've sort of put some iterations to it, brought more flexibility to it, so that it caters to the business teams as well as to the internal teams. So I won't go through the entire changes, but I'll just walk you through some basic changes that we did. Is initially when we started off, the allocations, obviously which drive the revenue, billing, and so on and so forth, were all happening at the end of the month, right? So person was working on a project without an allocation, sitting on bench, but there was no, person was not deployed. But so all of those things were catered to, that there would be a real-time allocation that had to be done without any, and the allocation also should be upfront. It had to be on billable projects and not on non-billable, because that again led to revenue leakage or loss of revenue. So it had to be at the right percentages, it had to be on the right project codes, and at the right time. One of the other things is that we also, one of the game changers I think that we did to bring about the accountability by the delivery teams was to move away from the common pool bench and actually go to a client and the practice bench, wherein there was some skin in the game by the practice teams or by the client teams to be able to ensure that they also had the cost of people on their projects, right? So if a person is available or if they would want to block or hold on to a resource, the only way that they could do it is have an allocation towards the individual. Otherwise, the person will continue to be available for all other projects. So I think that was one of the things that we did in FY23. The current AP 5.0, when I say AP is Allocation Principles 5.0, which is the current version, is we've given a lot of more flexibility to the business teams, because while we say that you'd want to hold a person for your project, they also want to cater to the people who have the required domain knowledge or have the training or the critical knowledge that is required for the projects, right? So we want to give them that flexibility, but with some timelines in place as well. So yeah. This is just a brief visualization of what we did in terms of the ownership and the distribution of benches. So when a person joins the organization or gets released from a project, he or she will be on the client bench, which is again a cost for the particular project. The person will be there only for 2 weeks. Within the 2 weeks, he or she can be deployed within the same client, within the same practice. So you get that flexibility of retaining the talent that you've trained, or the person who has the required knowledge. After 2 weeks, by default, the individual will move into the common pool, although the cost will continue to be with the client and the practice, so that they also are aware that they have hired this individual and now have released the individual to bench, so they still bear the cost there. Staffing team or us will definitely work towards deploying the individual on different projects once the person is released. But at the same time, we also have a limitation as to till when the person will be on a practice or a client bench. And from there, he or she moves to the competency bench, which is basically the skill competency leadership will then take ownership of the individual and the deployment of that person on a project. So when I'm talking about the outcome and impact, I think the allocation management that we've done and the principles that we've brought has been disruptive in the fact that it has primarily looked at where is the person allocated to and where the cost is supposed to be allocated. So any individual who joins the company will and has to have an allocation on some or the other project code. It cannot be that the person does not have an allocation and there should be some owner around, who's responsible for that individual in the organization. So the cost allocation is done appropriately basis the guiding principles. We are also talking about talent flexibility and retention, which I said, again, giving some flexibility to the business teams to be able to hold on to people, but again, with some defined timelines. If within that they can retain and redeploy, well and good, as the person becomes available to other projects. We are also talking about defined bench timelines. Like I said, 2 weeks on client bench, 8 weeks on the practice bench, and then it comes to capability bench. So everybody who is there involved in this journey has some level of cost, and hence their responsibility to be able to own that person and get the person deployed. Right? We are also talking about seamless onboarding and transparent bench movement. Because everybody will be involved in terms of onboarding the individual on a project. There could be some amount of blocking wherein the person is supposed to go through some client evaluation, or there's an onboarding process involved, and so on and so forth, where again cost is involved. So, we would want to minimize these sort of costs and hence give that flexibility to the teams to be able to do that. Now, having said that, I think the entire allocation management system is something that is inbuilt. It's powered by our internal teams, which is a combination of IT, the operation, business, and the staffing team, and we've all put that together to make this management system, allocation management system, something catered to whatever changes that we want to have in the last 5 years is what we've been able to accomplish. And like I said, and I heard in some of the speeches that we can only build Gen AI once we have our data or our base data, set up correctly. So I think this is one of the pillars of our entire database, because basis this, then you have your entire revenue, billing, utilization, reporting, all of that is basis the allocation that we have. So, and while we are also sort of building our staffing agent, the allocation management system has become one of the key pillars and contributing factors to build that Gen AI. So I think that's where we call out as a disruptive transformation. I think we take questions once Rahul is done with his part.
Sure. Thank you, Anubha. So I'm going to quickly take you through a journey of our skill management, I would say transformation or disruption that we did within Fractal. Right, I couldn't help but after looking at Wipro's presentation, it was the problem that there are many commonalities in the problems and the solutions, right, in ours and yours. But I'm going to stick to the skill management piece and not the demand supply management piece, because that is something that we have already presented earlier. So yeah, taking a step back, right, we were around 1,000 FTs in 2018-19, cut to now, like 2024 last year, when we started this exercise, we were at 5,500 plus. So there's a great like 3x, 4x movement in the headcount. Traditional staffing and traditional skill management was not working. Traditionally, staffing was still based, very role-based. Staffing, the resource management or the project allocation of people are very manager memory based. Okay, I have this new project. Okay, I know a guy who knows a guy who can do this. So that kind of environment with a meager, 80 to 90 bench strength and 80 to 90 FTs bench strength and about 150, 200 requirement. It was pretty manageable. Not now. Okay. A shift was definitely needed. Skill data was, of course, fragmented. Most of it is an employee resumes or a Fractal or a profile created by him or her, and wanted to centralize that. So started with a vision. We wanted a single marketplace for basically managers, employees, resource management or staffing team, as well as the leadership, right? That marketplace basically means for employees to showcase or flaunt their skills, for managers to shop for skills, in simple words, for staffing managers to, kind of keep a control and keep a check and track both demand and the supply through the skills marketplace. And also understand that, tenure of a person is not the only criteria to ascertain the ability of performing a particular project, right? And expertise is. So how to identify that expertise is what we were trying to do. So build that mindset first of all. Tenure is not equal to ability. Your expertise is. Earlier, we didn't have any way to calculate the expertise. And of course, using skills as the currency of reorganization. How can we use for employee development needs? How can we use for a training or a project development need, basically, and of course the sales pipeline as well. We'll come to that, how we can achieve that. So very similar approach, what we've already discussed and what we all know. First of all, building a skill taxonomy. We are a very specific organization, very AI and engineering services driven. We can't have playing guitar as a skill in our taxonomy, right? So first we had to formulate what is a skill taxonomy. That was the biggest exercise. We had to start speaking to each and every capability leaders, horizontal leaders, business leaders, taking the buy-in as to what kind of skill framework do they operate in, how can we categorize them, classify them to ensure that we have a proper matrix, a proper taxonomy, all right? Finding a platform is easier. We already had Workday as our HCM partner, so it was easier for us to, it also had a skill and talent marketplace which was able to host the basic skill management thing where employee can come and approve the skills, manager can endorse the skill, not approve, endorse is something that we as a practice, as a principle we followed. As part of our core values of extending extreme trust within all our employees, it was important for us to believe what employees said. So yeah, endorsing is one activity that we started. Integrating our L&D systems, right? Now we already have an L&D system where we have certification details and training details for all the employees. Get them in and help us create something known as a talent card, okay? Talent card replaces the employee resume, a manual profile which is created by the employee. What it does is takes the skills and the expertise, which is the proficiency level of the employees, takes the training and certification details, takes the spot awards, all the rewards and recognition, etc., and comes to a talent card. We used AI for user experience, helping employees to update the skills through giving certain prompts to an internal agent, in-house agent. Managers can extract reports and everything through that agent itself. And thus, reporting analytics and driving the entire adoption of the skill and skill management system is something that we had. Then we can skip to the next slide to show the outcomes. So as of yesterday, this is the status. Out of 5,600, we have the skills and all the details for 4,800 employees. An average skill rating, this is the kind of I will deep dive into this, how we use this as a currency. The average skill rating is 3.4 out of 5. 700 plus certification, which was not visible, is now identifiable through that talent card. Every Fractalite has now a Fractal card. Every employee in Fractal will have a talent card attached to him or her, which will have a summary of his or her profile. All right. There is a uptick because of this, because right now we don't have to wait for employees to send a resume or create a profile and send it to us. We send the talent card to the managers. Faster evaluation, faster closure of demand, and increase in the overall demand. Now this particular slide, I just want to take 2 minutes to explain. This analysis or this database was not available with us at all before last month, all right? Now we have categorized these skills into certain core skills that we operate under, AI engineering, cloud engineering, and you see that these are the average ratings of all the employees at junior and mid-level, basically grade 6 to grade 10. And if this tells us, okay, full stack development skills, we have an average rating of 3.5 out of 5. 43% of our people have mentioned one of the full stack skills in their profile. How will this help? This will help the capability leaders, the horizontal leaders, to go upwards from here. For example, every skill has a skill owner in our company who will then be responsible for making the 3.5 to 3.7 next year to 4 to 5. And also the number of people. Also, this can be further bifurcated or fragmented into who's available, who's on bench, who's deployable, not deployable, etc., which will help 3 things. 1, staffing team to plan better. Number 2, also help our sales team to pitch in a particular way, in a better way or in a better way once they have the skills and the other information available to us. And of course, the leadership to know what is the skill quotient of the skill status of our company, where we are headed, where we should be headed, and where we can reach with this kind of analysis. So this is what we talk about when we talk, when we say skill as a currency. So yeah, now our disruptive edge is basically looking at skill-first operating model beyond the routine role-based operating model. A bench, which we call as bench, we now started to call it a skill bank and not bench. skills is equal to opportunities, because all this along with the the Workday integration, everything, we're trying to build that marketplace to get everything together, where demand will also come, bench will also come, just like Wipro said that the marketplace will have a demand, supply, and the matching, which of course is the end state where we want to reach. Okay, that's it. That was about a skill management journey and the allocation principles. Open to questions. Yes.
I think most of the skill management initiatives, they start with skill taxonomy and then move into the one-time skill capture and profile capture, right? So how much time it has taken for you to define the skill taxonomy and capture the skills of all the people and the profiles of everybody? And how are you keeping it updated?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So it is an ongoing activity, as you as you may have guessed. So it took us close to about 3 months to a different team, not just one team, not just staffing team, but we actually partnered with some of our other teams to get the entire skill database from them as a one-time exercise, which took about 3 to 4 months. But yeah, it is an ongoing exercise now. We have also partnered with what helped us now is a Workday Skill Cloud. Workday as a platform has a feature called Skill Cloud, which is a self-updating list of skills, and we actually merged our skill taxonomy with them to have a comprehensive view of all the skills. So yeah, the updating part is taken care of, if that answers your question. It's auto updating, because we thought of this as a problem. We thought of this as a challenger. Who will be owner of this, update, keeping the skills updated regularly? As of now, we are taking this approach of Workday Skill Cloud.
Can you show us a sample talent card? How does it look? What does it cover?
Oh, I would love to share right now. Don't think we are connected to internet, but
okay.
I definitely will connect on that and I'll show you.
Yeah, and you touched upon the skills insights. So you did show one of the slides covering that. So do you also have some insights around what is trending within the organization and what is trending in the market? Do you do any such comparison?
Well, there is a different team, not staffing team, within our company who actually is looking after the trending market skill. They are basically, so we have various horizontal: engineering, data science, design, or fractal experience, or we call it experience. These are various horizontals or capabilities. They are capability leaders, are in charge of identifying trending skills, and not just identifying trended skills, identifying the clients who have these opportunities within their trending skills. That comes as an input to us to then go back to the skill taxonomy, or the skill database, to check who has the skill, what is the strength in that skill. For example, recently, I think IoT, Internet of Things, not recently, it's like 1 or 2 years ago. This is something that we acquired a company, and that team does the Internet of Things, and that's how we entered into the landscape of providing IoT solutions to our customers. But that was 2 years ago. Acquiring was easier then, not in today's scenario. So building that skill set is something which we will be focusing now.
Sure. And your average skill rating, it's only depending on people who are using that skill for the delivery, or it's the overall data?
It's delivery only. So we're basically taking the doers and the middle managers, or the one who directly deal with the client. So yeah, it's only part of those services and the doer checker. And now those skill fragmentations, that skill, the summary that we saw, the average rating that we saw is basically a starting point. An employee updates on an average 25 to 30 skills. He may rate only 3 or 4 top skills as high, and rest of all maybe low, 1 or 2, right? What we are trying to do right now is, of course, not manually, because it will be a tedious task, but through our Power BI platform and through our internal automation bots, to get top 5 or top 10 skills of a particular person, which aligns with his or her horizontal capability, and then set the average skill rating. Because if you look at one person's profile, he may have rated 4 or 5, or rated higher in maybe 5 skills. And then another 10 skills, maybe because he knew or had done something in the past, may have rated himself or herself lower. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. One last question.
Yeah.
Once associate updates the profile, say, I go and declare I have these 10 skills, is there any approval mechanism in place?
No. So that goes back to our core values, or the, and the Fractal core values basically, where we don't want to have an approval system. It wasn't there any time previously. Workday still has some approval system, but we kind of cut it down and went ahead with an approach that, okay, whatever employee declares will be considered as true and correct. There will be an endorsement process by the manager. However, manager can endorse certain skills, and that can be used as a way to identify, do a validation. But yeah, skill assessment is something which is in line, which we want to drive with our performance management team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.